Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation here in Spain. Day 90, that's right, day 90. We're into the nervous 90s, on our way to the ton. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Thank you very much for that. Lots of comments and lots of debate happening there. A big thanks to all of the people that decided to support the channel. You can see your names here. A big thanks to the people that bought merchandise. And again, thanks to my patrons on Patreon, and welcome to new patrons on board. Now, let's have a look at some of the news that has caught my attention over the last couple of days. And it's all about the Germans that are coming to Spain at the moment, or they're going to come on Monday. Some 11,000 Germans have been allowed to come into the country with no quarantine regulations. And we can see here that the Germans will be arriving in the Balearic Islands from Monday, and they must spend at least 5 nights and report accommodation. Starting next Monday, the government's experiment begins to study what the arrival of foreigners in Spain will be like when the borders are officially opened from July the 1st. In this first wave, thousands of Germans will arrive from 47 flights from different cities to Palma de Mallorca, Ibiza and Menorca between June the 15th and June 30th, according to the health order published this Friday in the official state gazette. So there we go, a pilot tourism scheme for Germans this summer. Arriving on Monday, must spend at least 5 nights, and they have to report the hotel they are staying in, just in case there are some health complications. Now, it's going to be an interesting experiment in this post-corona world that we're living in. Hopefully there won't be too many complications, and that will allow other groups of tourists to visit the country this year, which is what the tourism sector in Spain is waiting for. Now, on the tourism sector, one of the tourism lobbies here in Spain has said that they have noted that a lot of travelers are going to more open countries. The XL Tour lobby foresees losses of 83 billion euros and 1 million jobs lost on average for all of 2020. So again, the tourism sector here in Spain enormously hit by the crisis, lots of money and jobs lost, and tourists looking to go to more open countries. Obviously ones where they won't have to wear a mask, which is what you're going to have to do in Spain this year. Now, Spain's health minister and the chief health officer have given an interview to the Financial Times, and they say that Spain plans surgical measures to keep coronavirus under control. Top officials defend record and say targeted action will allow them to contain new cases. Spain plans to use surgical restrictions and improved detection to keep the virus under control once the country's lockdown ends this month. But it cannot rule out more swinging measures, the two most senior Spanish officials heading the battle against the pandemic have told the FT. In a rare joint interview, Salvador Illa, health minister, and Fernando Simon, the chief epidemiologist leading the country's fight against the virus, said that future outbreaks would be inevitable after the lockdown ended. So outbreaks inevitable, but surgical restrictions, meaning obviously that they're going to be more precise and not blanket restrictions, which is what we have had up until now. So if there's an outbreak in a certain area, the restrictions will be limited to that particular area, or at least that's what I'm hoping will happen. Now, for many parents with school-aged children, myself included, the conversation is turning towards what's going to happen in September when schools go back. And we can see here that face-to-face classes and safety distance at the beginning of the next school year in September. And one report here from the Catalan newspaper La Vanguardia says that the next school year will be face-to-face because of the failure of online learning. The 2020-2021 school year will be face-to-face for the majority of students, especially the youngest, because online teaching does not work to educate. So as we can see there, a lot of schools had problems to adapt to online learning. So face-to-face learning will continue to be the model used by schools here in Spain from September, although there will be reduced class sizes and of course a lot more distance between students. Now, how are they going to do that? I've said it before at my son's school, very, very complicated to do. Currently 26 children or 27 children in each class, and it's going to be complicated to find that extra space. What they're going to do at my son's school, I don't know, but we'll wait and see. But it's interesting to see that online learning has failed and that face-to-face learning is the only option for a lot of schools here in Spain. Now, there's been a small increase in virus cases over the last couple of days, and Fernando Simon has come out and said that they are imported cases, and they mainly come from the USA and Latin America. He said that this is one of the biggest concerns, considering that on July the 1st the borders will be opened and international tourism will be reactivated, and there's been 104 imported cases detected, and they mainly come from areas with active epidemics at a significant level of transmission from Latin America and the USA. And these cases seem to point to Spaniards who have been living abroad and are now returning. So one of the big problems for Spain in coming months, when those borders reopen again, how are they going to deal with these imported cases when restrictions are lifted and people start coming into Spain from other countries, especially ones in South America, as they said, where case levels are still very, very high. Now, the European Union has asked countries to open their borders on June the 15th, and we can see here that this has put pressure on Spain. The Spanish government so far intends to wait until July the 1st and says decisions will be based on health criteria. The Spanish government is for now planning to reopen its borders on July the 1st, when it will also lift its requirement for a 14-day quarantine. But many other European nations will be allowing visitors from Schengen area countries by next Monday. Some, like Italy, are already doing so. Now, Italy is a bit of a surprise for me because they're already open and accepting visitors from other European countries. Seems a bit strange considering that that was the area that the pandemic hit the hardest, or at least hit the hardest first, and they seem to be very, very quick to open. So what's the situation there? Has the virus completely disappeared, or is it under control? Spain seems to be going down more of a cautious path, so we'll see which strategy works in the long run. Now, on a lighter note, a headline that caught my attention is the shock of deconfinement. If you're having trouble getting back to normal, you're not alone. Getting started again is difficult after being locked up for so long. After my mind has prepared to de-escalate with phases and rhythms that at first seem appropriate to the level of confinement we have experienced, it turns out that no, everything is going very fast, and that it is as stressful as the previous life or more, and that my brain cannot fit the phases or the times or the new normality, says one graphic designer who's 37 years old. So it seems there's some people that are having trouble getting started again. They can't get used to the phases, they can't get used to the new normal, and they can't get back into that rhythm of life that they had before. Be interesting to see what it's like for you out there. If you're having trouble getting back to normal after being locked up for so long, let us know in the comments section. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from the last video. One here from Linda. Hi Stuart, thanks for these updates. They inspire me to think about where I want to spend my next chapter in life. Has the government defined or redefined what constitutes a mask now that they're instituting severe fines for not wearing one? In the US, people can wear buffs, bandanas, and in some cases can just pull their shirt up to cover their mouth. Yeah, Linda, thanks for the comment. As far as I know, here in Spain, you can't just pull your t-shirt or your shirt up over your mouth. You have to have an official looking mask. There are a few types of masks that the government do recommend, and when you go out into the street you do see people wearing official masks. People are not wearing bandanas as far as I've seen. You can have a homemade mask as long as it looks appropriate, and just covering up your mouth and your nose with a scarf won't cut it here in Spain at the moment. At least that's what I think, but again, I could be wrong. If I am, leave it in the comment section below. One here from another lady called Linda. I think we are getting so used to doing what we are told that we are in danger of completely losing any sense of freedom. Yeah, Linda, thanks for the comment. A lot of people are saying that we are losing freedoms. In fact, I released a video yesterday in which I interviewed Julian, and I think we spoke about this topic, about how people are being pushed to believe that what we're doing now is normal, and how easy it is for governments to push people in that direction. And of course, the lockdown here in Spain was a complete loss of freedom, and a lot of people did just accept it as normal because there was widespread fear in the community. One here from Joseph. Hi Stuart, great video. I'm living in Sydney, Australia at the moment. Started my journey learning Spanish, and with an Italian passport have had thoughts that I would like to come to Madrid or Barcelona to work. My cousin lives in Malaga and told me that Madrid and Barcelona have many international companies. It'd be 2 years before I'd make the move, as I would want to get my Spanish up to standard. But hearing the way that managers treat you has put me off a bit. Is that the norm? Yeah, Joseph, thanks for the comment. Yeah, Madrid and Barcelona do have a lot of international companies. Madrid in particular is where a lot of the big Spanish companies and multinationals have their headquarters. And let's be honest, if you want to work in Spain in that type of company, Madrid or Barcelona are going to be basically the only two choices that you have. Are all managers here in Spain tyrants? Obviously not. We said the other day that some people have experienced that. I have seen that in companies, especially in the financial sector, because they're older type managers. Sometimes they're in their late 50s and 60s, and that's the way that they have been managing all their life with an iron fist. Is it changing? It might be. I'd love to hear people's opinion that are working in companies nowadays that are maybe a bit more modern. Let's see what type of managers they have in those companies. So again, in the comment section, if you are in one of those companies, what are the managers like? One here from Eddie, coming out of Algeciras today, got into a traffic jam over 1 kilometre long, realised also that the incoming opposite was even longer. Oh great, we're back to normal. Yeah, Eddie, that's right. We seem to be getting back to normal, and traffic is one of the biggest indicators of that. Here in a city like Madrid, traffic can be horrendous, as it can be in most European capitals, or basically any big city around the world nowadays. And when the cars start coming back, we will know that the economy has got back to some type of normal. Unfortunately, I personally would like to see cities with less cars, with less traffic, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case, as people will go back to that old normal of hopping in the car in cities like Madrid. Now, I don't want to sound too hypocritical, because obviously I have a car and I use it quite a bit, because where I live we don't have many public transport options. But in cities like Madrid, one of the great challenges will be to reduce traffic and reduce traffic jams, pollution, and all of those problems that we have had up until recently. Another comment here, wouldn't be surprised to see day 365 and beyond updates. Yeah, thanks for the comment. I wouldn't be surprised to see it either. Hopefully it's not going to happen. Hopefully we won't get to day 365. I don't really want to be sitting here and having to say welcome to day 365. Hopefully the situation will be under control by then, and I'll be able to dedicate time to doing other types of videos as well as these news updates, but perhaps not as frequently as I'm doing them now. So hopefully, as I said, we won't get to day 365 of this type of video. One here from Pete. Hi Stuart, you rock. Thanks for the daily updates. Spanish-speaking gringo here. Yes, Camino de Santiago is awesome. I will be going again this year. It will be my 4th Camino. Buen Camino. Yeah, so there we go, the Camino de Santiago. We can see here Pete looking forward to doing his 4th this year. Lots of other people around the world also looking to do it. I was amazed a couple of years ago when I went to an area called Ponferrada here in Spain. We went to a little village that 20 or 25 years ago was almost abandoned, and it's been completely rebuilt on the back of the Camino de Santiago and the amount of pilgrims that are passing through this little small town. And it was great to see how something like this can rebuild local economies, which, as I said, 25, 30 years ago were almost abandoned. One here from Demetrius. Hey Stuart, do you believe that a new lockdown is around the corner? I'm afraid this will be the case in some countries. Yeah, Demetrius, good comment. It's in the back of my mind, and I'm sure it's in the back of the minds of most of the population here in Spain at least, because remember that the figures were out of control in countries like the UK, where they're pretty bad at the moment as well, United States, other countries around the world. That second wave is in the back of people's minds. But as we saw before, the health officials are confident that if there is another outbreak, that there will be surgical restrictions and not those widespread restrictions that we had before. So hopefully that will happen and the outbreak won't be something massive like we experienced in March in Spain. One here from Philip. I find it hard to understand how any modern country can survive with those sorts of unemployment figures. Yeah, Philip, thanks for the comment. To be honest, I've never really got my head around the unemployment figures here in Spain. 26 or 27% in the last crisis, going to head up to 23 or 24% during this crisis, if you believe what the experts say. And Spain deals with high unemployment. A lot of young people will be forced to leave the country. The black economy in some areas will kick in, and government subsidies will help people put food on the table while people are out of work. But again, coming from a country like Australia where 10% unemployment is a tragedy, 24 or 25% here blows my mind. One here from Ivan. My forehead is going to be permanently damaged by Spanish politics. Yeah, Ivan, thanks for the comment. Spanish politics also does my head in. Again, I can't get my head around it. I can't get my head around high unemployment. I can't get my head around Spanish politics. Spain is a country that lives and breathes politics. People in this country love to talk about politics. Newspapers are obsessed by politics here. And the more about politics you read and the more about politics you hear, the more it does your head in. One here from Ken. Enjoy your daily info. I used to live in Benidorm. I'm very glad I left. To be honest, I can't see Brits keeping to any rules once they start coming back. If that is ever, once a few beers have gone down their gullets, they just don't obey anything. Yeah, Ken, thanks for the comment. Hard to see anybody following those rules once they get a few beers down their gullet, to be honest. Once alcohol kicks in, a lot of the rules go out the window, as everybody knows, and I'm sure that it's going to happen in places like Benidorm or Magaluf once people start coming back. And anybody who's seen Benidorm on a Friday night or a Saturday night in the peak of summer will know exactly what I'm talking about. And Benidorm is one of those love-hate places. There are people that absolutely love Benidorm, and there's people that absolutely hate it. I think it's a great place to spend a weekend if you're looking to have a good time. In fact, I had one of the best nights of my life ever in Benidorm a few years ago with a few mates, but it's not really a place that I would take the family. And finally, one here from Stella. Hi Stuart, your videos are very interesting. I'm Spanish. They help me to improve my English. Thanks. Yes, Stella, thanks for the comment, and good to see that you are learning English here on this channel. Hopefully you can understand what I say. Hopefully my pronunciation is good and you're able to learn new words and expressions that will help you improve your English. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.